let's dive into shill bidding because
Yeah.
I often hear it. I often hear about it when it comes to Probstein auctions on eBay. And for me, Rick, what I do notice a lot of the time is that, and listen, I'm not one of these guys who goes and investigates shill bidding, looking at the bid history and putting together patterns. But I think, the assumption is you see a low feedback, chipping away at the bid. People make the I'll call it an assumption, but I think it's probably accurate most of the time that there's shill bidding going on. Um, but what I notice is that you see a lot of cards being relisted over and over and over again. And that's where my question is: why does this happen so much with Probstein auctions on eBay? Is it are your consigners shill bidding? And if so, what are you doing to mitigate it?
So let's talk about the whole thing. So first of all, with we allow bidders with 0 feedback, 1 feedback, 2 feedbacks to bid. And especially since the fact that we are now blocking anybody who has 2 unpaid strikes on any situation. So a guy who's normally a good guy, maybe he went back and forth with some seller who is asking for more information. The guy didn't give him a back scan of more information and he gets dinged with an unpaid strike. He can now no longer bid on our auctions. So eBay has given us permission, and we've told the person that they should open up a new account. So there are dozens and dozens of new accounts with less than 10 feedback, and people are bidding and winning on our auctions. In the old days, I would guess that about 2% of all items on eBay went unpaid. I think it's jumped up probably to the 5% range. And in modern basketball on expensive cards, in some players, it can be as high as 10% of cards that go unpaid. Our policy is that we will run a card, and if it goes unpaid, the bidder is getting a strike, and then we will run it again. And at that point, if it goes unpaid again, then we will then either give it back to the consigner and they can have the card back, or we'll post it as a buy it now. So in terms of shill bidding itself, shill bidding exists on every auction house and every platform. Okay. Shill bidding is very difficult to fully regulate because you can have somebody will make up a name. Joe Smith makes a submission, and he can have his friend under a different account, we'll call it Carl Savage. He's bidding and driving up the price of that item. Now, there's also people. One example, we have the most problem that we have with shill bidding is with Trae Young. Right now, it's almost impossible to sell a high dollar raw Trae Young card on eBay. And we're working with eBay on IP addresses to figure out the whole thing. So somebody is playing that market. They are not a direct consignor of ours. And we will take action if we know that a consignor is directly involved. But somebody, and they're actually overseas accounts that are doing it, they are making sure that nothing on Trae Young is going to go off low. And you can go do research on some of our Trae Young sales, and you'll be like, oh my God, some of these cards have run 2 or 3 times. There are people who, it's not their card, but they're going to make sure, I have, I bought 30 or 40 Trae Young silver prisms, and I'm going to make sure that none of them ever go off low. I'm going to be, if it doesn't sell, then, it's going to go unpaid. So there are people that are manipulating the markets in that regard. eBay has access to all this information because they have the IP addresses. You have to understand, as a seller, I'm not in control of the technology. If we see something or somebody points something out to us, we will forward it to eBay Trust and Safety. They can take action to a level that we can't. I don't see all the information. The most important information is IP addresses. That's how they nail people for doing things that are inappropriate. But this exists on every platform. When you're on a major auction house and you can't see any of the bidder IDs, don't be naive and think that it's not going on. It's going on. The same exact thing is going on different levels on all the big auction houses as well. It's just easier to see it on eBay because you're seeing bidder IDs, and it's just much more transparent.
I often hear people make the comment that, why doesn't eBay do anything about shill bidders? And then they say, well, it's because it's good for business. They make more money with auctions being shilled. What's your,
They're not making any money off of PWCC right now, so they do care about the topic.
So what are your sort of personal feelings towards it though? Like, do you wish it would go away, or are you okay with it because it boosts the final price on your auctions and others? I mean, industry wide, just your
Effort and
personal
energy
thought.
my company spends on relisting items, having to adjust the accounting, having to move the inventory so it's out of this box and into that box. We spend a tremendous amount of time and financial dollars in terms of adjusting everything. I would like to have it perfect. I would like to have it flawless like everybody else. We do our best to work with eBay and communicate with eBay when these pieces of drama come up. We block IDs. We have a system in place where people aren't paying things that they're not going to last very long on eBay. And eBay, I'm in constant contact with them, the leadership there, and they care greatly about this topic. They want to be the best platform. And eBay, if you add up their combined sales versus Golden, Heritage, PWCC, everybody, eBay destroys everybody combined. eBay is by far the biggest platform. And they care greatly about this topic. And they've taken great strides to clean it up. It's much better now than it was a year ago. They are talking and discussing about doing a couple other things that would be even further steps along the process. So they disallowed bid retractions. That was a very big step because somebody could literally manipulate an auction by just dropping their auction in the last hour, their bid. They're now basically, we agreed with them, and we don't make any exceptions, that if somebody has 2 unpaid strikes, they're basically done. And we tell everybody, if the guys, I've bought thousands of items in my life. I've never not paid for an item, and if you're a legitimate buyer, you're not like, oh, my 7-year-old bid by mistake, or some of the ridiculous excuses that we get. It's all nonsense. So
Do you get a lot of those yourself?
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, I could probably entertain you for 5 hours on some of the responses that we get.
Card porn takes care of that for us. So they entertain us every Monday with their weekly recap.
He does, but he's not getting my content, which would probably be a little bit more entertaining than some of the things that he gets. But maybe at some point I'll send it over to Card Porn so you can have some good content for the day. Listen, it's a real thing. It's something that, I saw that Card Porn recently posted, if you could change anything about the industry, what would you change? And there are definitely people who posted that shill bidding and these kind of things is the number one thing that they would change. And I think that is a legitimate thing to state. And I think that everybody is striving to clean it up the best that we can. I can tell you 10,000%, we have 30, 35 people in my office. I've had over the years, dozens and dozens of people work for me. You can interview anybody, and anybody will tell you that we're not involved in it directly on any level. And if anything happens, we're taking direct action, and it's not something that we're partnering on at any level,
Well, and that makes sense to me, because if you were, you'd have to buy your own items, pay the fees, and try to do better next time. So I've always been of the opinion that that the big consignment sellers it's not them doing the shilling, it's their consigners who are either doing it themselves or they're having an associate do it. That's kind of
the challenge is it's not them, because if it is them, we take action on the consigner, and we have a discussion with them, and sometimes it doesn't go well. It's other people. But I believe that most of the shill bidding that's occurring is happening by people that are invested in a product and they don't want to see it dip below a certain thing. A guy has 4 Topps Chrome LeBron PSA 10s and the card is dipping in value and he doesn't want it to dip further. So, it's not his auction. He's jumping in on the largest seller, the largest platform, and he's protecting his investment. And these people, they're slowly going away because, they have 2 strikes and they can't bid anymore. And eBay has access to these IP addresses and they're taking action.